am so excited to be here today with Dr. Peter Goos, and I have all kinds of questions for him. So let's just get started. Peter, what industries do you think are currently heavily using DOE, and what industries could maybe use some more DOE?
Hi, Cheryl. Well, in my experience, I think there are three sectors that heavily use DOE right now, even though there's a little bit of variability within these sectors. These three sectors are, in my opinion, the pharmaceutical sector, the semiconductor sector, and the chemical sector. I've been teaching short courses for companies in these sectors. I've been doing consulting for companies in these sectors. That would be my answer to the first part of your question. Regarding the second part of your question, I think that in the food industry, maybe the textile industry, perhaps also the steel industry, more DOE could and should be used. And I think also in my own sector, the academic sector, design of experiments should probably be used a bit more.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, from Minitab's perspective, we work with a lot of people in continuous improvement. And I do think one great thing that Six Sigma does is DOE is typically part of Six Sigma training. So I think that was one of the big benefits of Six Sigma was getting people to understand how powerful DOE can be. But when companies don't use DOE, so when you go into a company and they haven't been designing experiments, what are they doing instead?
I've seen various things. I think at best they have some kind of systematic approach. And oftentimes that's one factor at a time, experimentation. But what I also see is that companies perform series of tests suggested by subject matter expertise, by, I would say, sort of educated guesswork, educated gut feeling. But without the systematic approach where they study all factors systematically at low and high levels. Yeah, I'm afraid to say that often it's not as systematic perhaps as it should be.
Yeah, and when that happens, what's the cost then? So when they're not doing DOE, what's happening in terms of the cost to the company?
I think the main cost is that there's suboptimal decision making. Maybe companies don't find the most influential factors, don't find the optimal settings for all the factors simultaneously. And as a result, probably they do not operate at an optimal fashion. Products are suboptimal. So I think the cost is there. I think one competitive disadvantage of DOE, if I may say so, is that you see upfront what the cost is going to be of all the tests you're going to do. And that cost that you immediately see scares people off. But if you do sequential experimentation based on subject matter expertise, educated guesswork, as I said, you only see the cost of one test at a time, and you don't see the total cost of the many tests that are still far away in the future. So I think indeed, people often do more tests than necessary if they do not adopt a systematic approach.
Yeah, that's great insight. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. They see the cost of a DOE and think it's too expensive, not realizing how much they really are, how much costs they're really incurring on that one step at a time approach. Yeah.
I think there's also another cost. I think if you do sequential tests, one after the other, I think often a lot of time goes by before you reach some kind of point where you're satisfied with the results. While if you're doing a DOE, you have to make a substantial effort, but usually in a limited amount of time. So you probably reach better decisions faster when you do a DOE.
Tell me about one of your most exciting successes with DOE.
Can I mention two successes?
You can actually, yeah, absolutely.
So, I think the very first consulting project I did, that's quite a while ago, it was one exciting success. And that was a project where companies involved in the automobile sector collaborated to perform an experiment to figure out how they could ensure that polypropylene got good adhesion properties. Turned out that in the car industry, polypropylene is used a lot, but the challenge is to put nice coatings on top of the polypropylene. And that project was intended to investigate different slightly different formulations of the polypropylene products and a gas plasma treatment to try to find out for each polypropylene formulation what's the ideal gas plasma treatment. The output of the whole DOE in that context was what they called an expert system. That's basically a statistical model wrapped in a nice user interface. An expert system that allowed them to figure out what was the ideal gas plasma treatment for a given polypropylene formulation and application. So, and although that's a long time ago, I still like that story very much.
Yeah, wow, it's practical and powerful. That's great.
Yeah, and that was an example in the chemical sector, you could say. Another more recent success story was in the food industry. So I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that in food industry, DOE is not used often enough. But of course, there are exceptions. And one of the latest successes we had in our research group was in the production of Pringles chips. Pringles is a brand by Kellogg's. And the challenge there was to lower the fat content of the potato chips and at the same time lower the production costs. And we managed to achieve that by using a mixture experiment with 7 ingredients. So we did a DOE with the 7 ingredients, the 7 main ingredients of the Pringles chips, and we managed to lower the fat content by 3% and the production cost by a substantial percentage as well. And the challenge, of course, is to do all that while preserving the volume of the Pringles chips, while preserving the crispiness, while preserving the extent to which the customers like the product. So that was another exciting application.
So I think I need to go out and get some Pringles today, test your DOE. But oh, that's cool. That's really cool. All right. So one of the questions that comes up, especially in marketing, we think about who would be interested in this sort of in DOE in particular. Who should we be talking to? So do you see DOE as a methodology for experimenting at the lab scale, at the pilot scale, or at full production scale?
I usually like to say that there's a DOE for everyone. I've seen applications of DOE successful at full production scale, at pilot scale, and at lab scale. For example, a recent consulting case here was within GSK. GSK is a pharmaceutical company producing vaccines, and they used one of our newest experimental designs, an OMARS design, to study how they could increase biomass production in their lab in 24 little bioreactors that were sort of organized in an AMBER 250 system, a classical test system in the pharmaceutical sector. So that was a successful story at lab scale. But right now we are also designing experiments for a research institute in Flanders to make French fries better. And that's an extensive DOE basically at pilot scale. It makes no sense in that sector to experiment at lab scale. For the results to be practically useful, it has to be at least pilot scale. So there we experimented at pilot scale. And I've also seen W.L. Gore, chemical company, doing experiments at full production scale where they would stop normal production 1 day a week to execute one of these modern OMARS designs to learn as much as possible, for example, about a new product.
It's amazing. Like I love real world stories. So your experience is just incredible to me. Like all the different and the variety of places you've seen and problems you've solved. So what do you think, what element of DOE today, 2026, is most exciting, especially to our customers and people that, might be using DOEs?
So now that Minitab has acquired Effex, I would say, the flexible, optimal design of experiments capabilities that are embedded within Effex, as well as these OMARS designs that I mentioned a couple of times earlier in this conversation. So I think these are two new things that will be very helpful for Minitab customers facing challenging DOE problems. Yeah, the nice things about optimal design of experiments is that you can really tailor the DOE to your own situation. You can take into account any cost constraints that you have, any constraints on the factor levels that you have, any logistical constraints also that you have, because oftentimes when you try to design an experiment, you face the problem that your experiment takes multiple days, requires multiple batches, and you have to take that into account. Sometimes you cannot do what textbooks recommend, namely randomize the tests. So in that case, yeah, you need a solution. You need a DOE that takes into account the difficulties to randomize. And the cute thing about optimal design of experiments is that all of that can be taken into account when producing or when searching for a DOE.